2024. Yet again, we're getting to the tail end of the year. But as we get to the tail end, the political temperatures in the country is getting to optimum levels. Now, today, the impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is expected to be tabled in the National Assembly. And if word out there is true, the motion is set to be tabled by Kilifi's Owen Baya. Earlier on, it was touted that could be Kimilili MP Ditmas Baraza will be tabling that bill, but it is now emerging that Owen Baya will be the one to table that particular bill. Another motion that is set to oust Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Now, very interesting times because the leadership of the House, from the Speaker to his deputy, that is Moses Masiko Etangula, to his deputy, Gladys Boschole, to the majority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah, majority whip, Silvana Sosoro, Owen Baya, all of them are in support of this particular motion. But before we go further, welcome to the new dawn here on K24 TV, a breakfast show that you can watch live across our social media platforms at K24 TV on this very, very interesting day ahead of us. And this particular morning, I just want you to let us know, where do you stand in regards to the impeachment motion against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua? The DP himself has been on the road in the past few weeks and trying to reach out to all Kenyans through several interviews. Yesterday, he of course had an interview with stations from, or rather, with a local station in using Kalenjin language, just trying to explain what is happening and what is awaiting him. And he says he will not resign. We'll wait and see, because he says the accusations leveled against him are flimsy and do not hold any water. Remember, he's been accused of tribalism, corruption. And in fact, among the things tabled on the issue of corruption is that he has amassed wealth running into billions of shillings in the past 2 years, claims that he refused. And by the way, the Treetops Hotel in Nyeri County that was reopened a few weeks ago, that those who drafted the impeachment motion say it was bought by the DP through his sons. The DP says no, his sons took a loan, and in fact, it is a lease. They didn't buy that particular hotel in Nyeri County. And if any, the DP says his sons are open and are free to do any business. And him being the deputy president does not stop his sons from doing business, so long as it is not business with the government. And he says he encouraged his sons to do business with the private sector. And that is exactly what he's doing. That was the DP yesterday evening, speaking to those particular stations, including MOFM. Now, we'll be talking about that today, even as we wait for the tabling of that particular motion. But again, today is a very important day in the country, in the health sector, because Shifrancha is set to be rolled out officially. And many say, including legislators who sit in the National Assembly's Health Committee, led by the likes of Anthony Kibagendi of Kitutu Chache, they say the country is not ready for this. Why don't we give it more time? Why the rush? Because there are several questions, even as the committee chaired by Robert Pukose, Honorable Robert Pukose, cleared Safaricom's involvement in the consortium that is in this particular health program. Our question is this the best solution to the problems that we've had in the health sector? We'll be as well looking into that, even as Kenyans expect the rollout of Chef to be done today, amid several questions regarding whether this is the right way to go and whether this will help tackle the corruption and massive looting that was witnessed in the NHIF. Apart from that, yesterday, activist and civic educator Morara Kebaso was arrested. You also saw Ferdinand Waititu Babayao, the former Kiambu governor, arrested. Babayao was arrested early in the morning, or mid-morning. Morara Kebaso was arrested in the evening. And his colleagues say he was arrested, and those who arrested him, in fact, they say in their own words, he was abducted. And they did not give reasons as to why they took him from his offices in Kahawa Sukari. He was moved to the Nairobi Regional Headquarters, later on to the DCI offices along Kiambu Road. But the youth maintain through the social media platform X that they will not allow that to happen. And in fact, they have threatened to hit the streets today until Morara Kebaso is released. Now, welcome to the New Dawn. Before we go further, let's just have a look now at what is making headlines in the news this particular morning before we talk about the heated debate surrounding the impeachment of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. I'm Ian Kitani, and remember, like I said, you can engage with us across social media at K24 Tv and at Ian Kitani. Now, let's just jump straight into it, and starting with matters health CS Deborah Mulongo was on the spot yesterday regarding the state of preparedness ahead of the rollout of the Social Health Insurance Fund scheduled for today. Mulongo, who struggled to explain how unemployed Kenyans would contribute, insisted that everything is in place for the launch.
I'm still not convinced that I don't want to.
With the much publicized rollout of the Social Health Insurance Fund, which the Ministry of Health calls a paradigm shift in the provision of health services, set for tomorrow, Health CES Deborah Mulongo was questioned about contributions from those in the informal sector.
When you are in informal, you are not employed, what happens? You're given and you do a means testing. Once it's done, it will determine your income bracket. Every month, they will be able to deduct from what you're getting.
Where are you deducting from?
Deduct from where the woman works in my shamba.
Because the lady who is working in my 5 years shamba and is earning that much, how are you going to deduct it?
It will be similar to the Hustlers Fund.
How?
It will be full alone.
But 0% interest.
PS Harry Kimtai quickly addressed some of the concerns, noting that the government has partnered with financial institutions to assist those in the informal sector who might struggle with the annual subscription fees.
We do understand that sometimes you face challenges where you cannot raise the entire amount that your annual premium. We have made a provision within the digital system where we are partnering with the financial institutions, with the cooperative societies, with SACCOs, so that as members of the SACCOs, where they can benefit and request for advance or any lending, which happens in a normal situation, they can access lending.
If you give these people loans, as you say, to be able to pay for this cover, and they don't repay back in 1 year, what will happen in the following year to these people who have a debt of last year, which they took in form of loan to be able to access this health cover?
As questions regarding the rollout took center stage, committee members raised key issues, insisting that the country was not ready for the transition to SHIF.
From tomorrow going forward, we'll see a monstrous failure on your part because of the rush that we've had.
However, the ministry claims it conducted a pilot program across 8 counties, engaging at least 2,000 households to gather accurate data. But this number raised concerns from MPs who said the sample size was too small to represent the broader population.
I'm so disturbed by your sample size. You are talking about 8 counties. So even if you spread across, should that be the sample frame? Spread across, you will have maybe 200 to 300. When the scientific approach is compromised, then the whole thing will happen. In fact, the ideal thing would have been to do the whole population and find out who are the vulnerable communities.
Also subject to concern was Safaricom's role in the consortium, which also includes Apero Limited, a company MPs say was awarded the contract without any significant local presence.
These companies that form the bid by Apero as a consortium who conducted the due diligence, where is the proof of the conduct of due diligence? And when we look at Apero, we ask ourselves one key question. This is a foreign-based company. How do we go ahead and sign a contract in a consortium that has a foreign company, yet this company has no local footprint, contrary to the provisions of the law?
Questions were raised about whether proper due diligence was conducted before awarding the contract. Ian Keitani, K24 TV, Nairobi. Now, still on matters health, Busia Senator Okiya Omtata and two other petitioners, Eliud Karanja Matindi and Dr. Magare Gikenyi, have moved to the High Court seeking interim orders to suspend the implementation of the Social Health Insurance Fund. They argue that the subsidiary legislation required to operationalize the Social Health Insurance Act has not been put in place. In the petition, they have sued the CS for Health, that is Deborah Mulongo, Principal Secretary, Medical Services, that is Harry Kimtai, alleging attempts to defraud Kenyan shillings 104 billion. Mumbi Wambugu reports.
Insurance fund is facing strong opposition to its implementation. On Monday, petitioners led by Busia Senator Okiya Omtata presented a comprehensive petition at the High Court. The petitioners are asking the court to quash the subsidiary legislation which they allege is being used illegally and unconstitutionally to implement the SHIF. The petitioners are also seeking to have the court suspend and later quash the government's decision to contract the Safaricom Consortium comprising Safaricom PLC, Convergence Network Solutions Limited and Apero Limited to provide the integrated healthcare information technology system for universal healthcare. The petitioners claim that they have attached highly classified documents to their petition, which allegedly expose a fraud scheme between corrupt government officials and highly connected dealers in the Safaricom Consortium. The documents are said to reveal that the contract between the government of Kenya and the Safaricom Consortium is a malicious fraud scheme designed to steal huge amounts of money from the SHIF and the consolidated fund if contributions to the fund fail to cover the contracted billions. The petitioners argue that not only is the contract illegal, but Kenyans will not receive any value for money from it.
One problem that is there is that you are in the hospital, you are detained because there's delay in processing the payment.
They also claim that there is no justification for contracting the Safaricom Consortium, as the exclusive mandated to deliver the integrated healthcare information technology system lies with the Digital Health Agency established under the Digital Health Act No. 15 of 2023. In the petition, several organizations have been joined in the proceedings, including the Law Society of Kenya, Katiba Institute, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, Kenya Human Rights Commission, Transparency International, the Senate, and the National Assembly. These entities have been included as parties with legal responsibilities.
Universal healthcare coverage is critical for us so that each of us as Kenyans can be able to access affordable quality care.
Mumbi Wambugu, K24 TV.
The government is ready to roll out maternal healthcare services under the new Social Health Authority, which is seen as a significant advancement in achieving universal health coverage. Ventura Komboka has the report.
As NHIF operations cease at midnight, ushering in the new phase of the Social Health Insurance Fund, the Ministry of Health says it's ready for the rollout, with a particular focus on maternal healthcare, which forms a key component of primary healthcare under the authority. Speaking during the flagging off of medical supplies worth 1.2 billion shillings from Kemsa to counties of Nyeri, Kwale, Samburu and Bomet, Health Cabinet Secretary Deborah Bolongo said the flag-off is aimed at improving maternal health outcomes.
Our maternal mortality remains high at 342 deaths per 100,000 live births, and this is an area where improvement is urgently needed, and today's flag-off will support efforts to improve maternal health outcomes by ensuring access to life-saving interventions and medicines for mothers and children. So the introduction of the Social Health Act marks a pivotal step in our journey towards achieving UHC, and SHA will be designed to provide comprehensive health services without causing financial hardship, a goal which aligns perfectly with our vision of ensuring healthcare access to all.
With a primary healthcare fund under the Social Health Authority Act, maternal services tariffs have been revised to cover both normal and cesarean section deliveries, as well as antenatal and postnatal care. The cost is set at 10,000 shillings for normal delivery and 30,000 shillings for cesarean section.
Today's flag-off encompasses a wide array of critical health products, from essential medicine and medical supplies to maternal health commodities. These resources will allow healthcare workers to better respond to a variety of health concerns. They will respond to maternal and child health concerns by focusing on maternal health, the commodities of maternal health and of children.
Ahead of its rollout, the ministry has also flagged off essential medical supplies for diabetes and hypertension treatment, which under the Social Health Authority will have a premium treatment cost of 2,850 shillings per year for hypertension and 4,300 shillings per year for diabetes.
We are equally flagging off other essential medicines for diabetes, hypertension, cancer, among others. And as we move forward, I call upon the community members, health workers, and local leaders to utilize the resources that have been provided. We call on Kenyans to actively register for the Social Health Authority services in order to access services in healthcare facilities. And as we said, for the primary healthcare, you only need to register and you will be able to access the services. But for the Social Health Insurance Fund, then we will need you to register as well as contribute.
Last month, the government reinstated the Linda Mama program under the Social Health Authority to encourage mothers to access essential free healthcare services. With 2 billion shillings already allocated, the program has benefited 7.5 million expectant mothers since its launch in 2013. The Social Health Authority aims to provide affordable, accessible and quality healthcare services. So far, the government has allocated 6.1 billion shillings for the Social Health Authority, though the full implementation requires 168 billion shillings. Bentura Kumbuka, K24, Nairobi.
To a story that shapes our conversation this particular morning. 3 attempts by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to block the National Assembly and Senate from processing an impeachment motion have failed, paving way for the motion to be tabled today. Now, through former UDA SG Cleophas Malala, the Sheria Mtaani lobby group and Caroline Wambui Mwangi, Gachagua argues that Parliament is not properly constituted to give him a fair hearing. As Joel Chacha now reports, while the case is certified as urgent, the process can still continue unless the court intervenes.
Less than 24 hours before the impeachment motion against the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is scheduled to be tabled, 2 attempts to block the National Assembly and the Senate from processing the motion have collapsed in the High Court. In the first attempt on Monday, Gachagua, through his ally Cleophas Malala, who was recently ousted as UDA Secretary General, asked the court to issue a conservatory order to hold the hearing and examination of the motion. This motion seeks to remove Gachagua from office and bar him from running for office again. Malala argued that Parliament is not properly constituted based on the Supreme Court's ruling on the 2/3 gender rule. In the second attempt, the Sheria Mtaani lobby group, citing the same reason, also faced a setback. High Court Judge Justice Chacha Muita declined to issue interim orders, but certified the case as urgent. It will be mentioned on October 9th. However, this ruling means the impeachment motion can still be tabled as planned on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. On the other hand, if the court agrees with the petitioners during the process, in either the National Assembly or the Senate, the impeachment proceedings could be halted until the cases are determined. Meanwhile, President William Ruto, who had called for a parliamentary group meeting, has been forced to cancel it, as MPs are eager to take matters into their own hands and proceed with the impeachment.
The deputy president needs to be given a fair platform, and that fair platform cannot be in both houses of parliament.
It is today. Parliament does not have the two-thirds gender representation in parliament. We have a parliament that is full of testosterone. We have so many men in parliament as opposed to women. So the question then that you want to ask yourself is whether parliament as it is currently constituted can sit down and adjudicate on a motion, a constitutional process, well, it is unconstitutionally composed.
As all eyes are on Parliament regarding the impeachment, the debate has sparked reactions from both religious and political leaders.
There is no doubt that the impeachment of the holder of that office would lead to political uncertainty, instability, and chaos, regardless of the merits or otherwise.
Joel Chacha, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Staying with the same issue is that UDA delegates from 17 constituencies in Nairobi have voiced strong opposition to the planned impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, asserting that they were elected as a pair and should not be targeted for expressing the grievances of the Mount Kenya region. They also expressed concern over the perceived victimization of several Nairobi MPs aligned to the Deputy President. The delegates called on the President to halt the impeachment process, urging him to focus on uniting the party and advancing the Kenya Kwanza's development agenda.
Lakini kikamni issue yoyote ya Mkikuyu inaekelewa kwa meza inakuwa ni ukabila. Hiyo tuache, si ukabila na tumekataa. So kitu yoyote saa hizi tunataka nyinyi mfanye na msimamishe. Hatutaki hiyo impeachment. Juu mkifanya hiyo impeachment mnatuingia na mnatuonesha madharau. Tuliruka kijana wetu Uhuru. Tukamruka tukamuonesha tumtambui ati tukufe na wewe. Sasa hizi senye ushafika ndio mnataka kutuonesha madharau.
Tafadhali tunakuomba rais wetu, hivyo tu kwa unyenyekevu, ongea na hawa watu ambao wanaleta impeachment. Miaka tumebakisha miaka 3, hata ya mwisho tuhesabini kwa sababu campaigns zinakuanga zimeanza. Kwa hii muda mfupi tu imebaki, wacheni mtoto wetu amalize kazi yake. Kutokana na hapo, mkiona ni kama hautaki kuendelea na yeye, tutasema ulitufanyia heshima na tulifika mbali, tulikuwa tunafaa kufanya nini? Kufika.
Na sisi tunaomba tafadhali hii maneno ya Gachagua ifike mwisho, na wa viongozi wetu ambao ni akina James Mwangi Gakuya, George Theuri, Major Dong na wale wengine akina Bishop Margaret Wanjiru wapewe heshima. Sisi hatutaki ukabila, tunataka tukue kitu moja Nairobi.
Well, those are the youth defending Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua amid the impeachment motion that is said to be tabled or will be tabled today before the floor of the National Assembly. And if approved, rather, the motion will, of course, go to the Senate. Now, this particular morning, my guests have arrived here. A very good morning to you, and thank you very much, Odoyo Owidi, for joining us this particular morning, as well as a former minister, that is Samuel Pogisho. We will be taking a brief breather, then we'll be back with what is making headlines in the local dailies. Don't go away.